studying for the big exam, the Board Certified Behavior Analyst exam? Well, me too. My name is Angela, and today we're going to go over the task list starting with section A, which is the philosophical underpinnings. Today we're going to cover section A1, which is to identify the goals of behavior analysis as a science. So let's get into it. ABA is what brought us to the big exam, so let's define ABA. ABA is applied behavior analysis. This is the evidence-based, applied science. Evidence-based applied science. The BACB, which is the Behavior Analyst Certification Board, they have a definition for ABA. The definition of ABA, according to the BACB, is a science based on the use of learning principles to improve socially important behavior. ABA practice focuses on assessing the environmental influences on behavior, assessment-based intervention, and data-based decision-making. ABA has been used to address the behavioral needs of consumers in multiple areas, including general and special education, organizational behavior management, gerontology, I believe that's the study of how we age, and many more. ABA is the leading evidence-based treatment approach for ASD, which is autism spectrum disorder, and other developmental disabilities, right? So ABA is a field of science. Science is an organized approach for collecting knowledge and understanding about the natural world. So that's science. It's an organized approach to collecting information, collecting knowledge, and then we get understanding from that information to basically help us understand the natural world. Now, the purposes of science. The purposes of science is to find the truths about nature, which are universally understood, and it stands alone. It stands alone from anybody else's beliefs or opinions, right? Any other groups of beliefs or opinions. It stands alone. And you can understand a subject that's being studied. That's the whole purpose, is to be able to understand the subject that's being studied. In ABA, we want to understand socially significant behaviors, and we also aim to change it, okay? And so we're going to also talk about the 3 levels of understanding. So the first level is description. That's the first level of scientific understanding, to be able to describe something. And these descriptions are basically facts. It's facts from what we observe. So being able to observe something over and over, we can come up with some facts about what we observe. And we can talk about what it looks like. We call that topography. We can also talk about how many times it happens, right? So we're able to describe something based on what it looks like and how many times it happens. And this description helps us to form a hypothesis. It helps us to form what we call a prediction. So prediction is the correlation. So after we observe something, for example, we can have a description of how many times I kiss my husband. So it can go something like this. Every time Angela walks in the house, she kisses her husband 3 times and he hugs her around her waist. That's a description. So the prediction, level 2, it gives us an understanding of when it's repeated over and over, we can safely assume that there's a relationship that's happening between the 2 variables. We have the dependent variable and we have the independent variable. Now, the independent variable is what happens first, and this is what causes the dependent variable to happen. And so it has a cause and effect relationship, a correlation, a covariation is another word for it. So that's level 2 of scientific understanding, is the prediction. When A happens, B is more likely to happen. And then we have C, is the control. This is the causation. Now, 3 Level 3, the third level of scientific understanding, is the highest level of scientific understanding. This is when we can confirm our prediction, when we can test it out to see if indeed independent variable indeed has the effect on the dependent variable by testing it out multiple times to see if you're going to get those same results. And when you do, you can safely say that you have control. All right? Those are the 3 levels of scientific understanding, and that wraps up section A1. And in our next video, we'll cover A2, which goes over the philosophical assumptions underlying science of behavior analysis, such as selectionism, determinism, empiricism, parsimony, and pragmatism. All right, let's go. We got this. We're going to pass this exam. I'll tell you that right now.